up? Welcome to another edition of SacTown Movie Buffs. Once again, I'm Kier. Now, this is Jason. And today we are actually reviewing a new film that is actually streaming only. It's not in theaters, actually. It is only playing on Netflix. Yeah,
Yep.
It's only playing on Netflix. I don't remember where I watch this stuff. I watch a lot of movies. Don't remember where I watch half of them. So, Netflix. I mean, I'll remember if I went to the theater. I just don't remember which of the 15 streaming platforms that I might watch a film on. So, it gets a little confusing at times. So, But without further ado, the film that I'm actually referring to is going to be Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the 2022 version. I just had to specify that in case anybody thought we were talking about another version of Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
As a Texas Chainsaw Massacre fan, I will point out that the original has a "the," and the chainsaw is two separate words. So, us Texas Chainsaw Massacre experts would know that there's no "the" and chainsaw is one word. It's not the same movie.
But if anybody's listening and not actually watching this, they might just hear Texas. But they're not going to know that chainsaw is split into two words. So
yes,
we do have a podcast as well.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
I say, without further ado, I say we get right into it. And Jason, our resident horror expert, is actually going to take this one away.
Yes. Okay, so Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a direct sequel to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Okay. All right. So this is, basically it's kind of like Halloween that came out in 2018 in the sense that it is basically purporting to be a direct sequel to the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre, not taking into account any of the sequels, prequels, what have you, that's come in between. And I could go into detail on all of those, but I won't do it. But basically, it's kind of taking the Halloween 2018 approach to the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So, and I have no problem with that. Like, I am a big fan of all the slasher franchises, Halloween, Friday the 13th. I'm totally down with alternate timelines. You know, with how the Halloween series itself, there are multiple timelines.
Yeah, there's like 10 timelines you can follow that'll get you confused on that for sure.
So. Yeah, there's a timeline that goes from 1 to 6. There's a timeline that goes 1 to straight to H2O and Resurrection. There's one that goes from 1 straight to 2018. There's, of course, Rob Zombie ones kind of floating out there on their own island. I love that kind of stuff. You know, to me, it's like it's all fair game in these long-running series.
I agree with that.
Yeah. So, just to cut to the chase, because I've been kind of fascinated with how divisive this movie has become, it seems, especially in horror fan circles. But I'll cut straight to the chase. I am pro this movie. I freaking loved it. I had an absolute blast with this movie. For one thing, it is the polar opposite of the only kind of horror movies that seem to get attention these days. And I will, like, to specify that, I will say, like, I have been a fan of what they call A24 horror. You know what I mean? Like, that's what's big these days, is like movies like Hereditary, Midsummer, The Witch, Saint Maud. Those kind of movies are seemingly the only kind of horror movies these days that get good reviews. You know, very serious, very artsy, weird, surreal, long movies. And I've liked a lot of those. I mean, like, especially Hereditary, Midsummer, and The Witch are like 3 of my favorite horror movies, you know. But at this point, that formula is getting a little stale to me, you know. And to me, this was like a return to the glory days of an 80-minute, blood-drenched kill fest, no fat on the bone, straight up horror movie. And I absolutely loved it. Like, I thought, like, the way they continued the original story. First of all, the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre is one of my favorite movies of all time. I like several of the ones that came in between. Not all, but several of the ones that came in between. And I just had a ball with this movie. You know, I thought the way they continued the story from the original made sense. I liked the way that, I didn't even talk about the story any, did I? So basically, this movie, again, direct sequel, set 50, you know, the original was almost 50 years ago. So this group of like 4 young 20s, I would say, people come to this, you know, come to the town where the town in Texas, either near or close by where the original was set, which is now a ghost town, practically deserted, with the idea of turning it into kind of a kind of redeveloping it, rebranding it, as kind of new community. There's a little bit of like commentary on gentrification. They want to come in and turn it into, put some bistros there and some organic food markets or something like that. Something like that. It's kind of a little bit of satire on like millennials and like rebranding and social engineering and all that kind of stuff. And to do it, they have to throw they have to kind of they buy the area, and they have to throw out, it's kind of a little bit of drag me to hell here too, because they have to throw out an old lady who's living in this home, and she's running an orphanage, and her only tenant is a middle-aged man, actually, who that's Leatherface basically. So they have to throw her out of the home.
I would say more than middle age at this point, though, right?
Yeah, I know. It's a slasher movie franchise.
Yeah, he's got to be what, like 70 by now, the minimum.
Whatever, Kier.
Okay.
So they have to throw her out of the home. She has a asthma attack or something and dies. And the only person that she was still taking care of doesn't take kindly to this, of course. So then he is kind of reawakened, or like the serial killer inside is reawakened. So he goes on like a literal chainsaw killing spree with all these kind of annoying millennials that have come piled into town on a literal bus. So that's the general story. But that's it. Like, I had a great time with this movie, just being a back to the basics, 80-minute, not a second of fat on this movie, unpretentious, just kill fest. And it checked all the boxes for me. You know what I mean? Like, the characters were interesting enough. I thought, like, I really liked the final girl, which I found out afterwards was Elsie Fisher from 8th grade. And I was like, oh yeah, no, I like her. No wonder that I liked her. I like the characters, and it's really gory. It doesn't keep you waiting. I mean, the kills start happening early and they keep going. It's pretty suspenseful. I like the relationship between the two sisters, because I didn't know how that was going to go. It's got some really great action scenes. It's got a scene on a bus that I truly believe will be legendary. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's one scene that, a lot of people are hating on this movie, but I think like in 10 years time, a lot of people will be going, yeah, that bus scene was pretty amazing. Yeah, I mean, I just had a great time with this movie. It was over and done in 80 minutes, and it has without going into any spoilers, it has a really messed up ending. I'll put it that way. It's got, I don't know, it was just intense. It was funny. It was entertaining. It was bloody. It was gory. It was everything that I could want from a legacy Texas Chainsaw Massacre sequel. So yeah, I had a great time. How about you?
All right. So I'll preface before I get into my take on it. So of the, let's say the big fours, Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, Jason, Leatherface. I always considered Leatherface to be a little below those ones, and just in my personal opinion, just because the sequels haven't been as good, just in general. I do like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's obviously a classic, but I just feel like the sequels are always not that great, in my opinion. Never was a fan of any of the sequels, so it was never really one that I gravitated to as much as the other three. Just in my personal opinion. This one, it definitely has some problems. It's far from perfect. I mean, you could definitely, if you're gonna be critical, I think you could definitely rip this one to shreds. Just in terms of there were some issues with the acting, definitely some logic issues throughout in terms of what the characters do and don't do. The bus scene that I think that you say is iconic. I mean, I thought it was fine, but if I'm thinking in my head, there's one guy with a chainsaw and a bus full of like 50 people. logically, I just don't see how that would be plausible that, you know, he's going to rip through 50 people to shreds. You know what I mean? Because while he's tearing someone apart, I'm either out of there or there's enough of us we could overtake him. You know,
but it sure is fun.
I mean, they all just pretty much just stand there and just let them like chop them to shreds, you know, for the most part, you know. So, you know, so there's definitely some logic issues. It's far from a perfect film, but in terms of a short 80-minute long, you know, action film with violence and bloody, you know, if that's what you set out to do, I would say that it did its job. You know, I mean, it's a polarizing film, and I don't know, for some reason, anytime a film's really polarizing, I'm always like right smack dab in the middle. You know what I mean? Like I'm always right there because I can see both sides. I can see why people definitely loathe this film because it definitely has flaws and it definitely has a lot of issues with it. But on the flip side, I can also see why someone might love this film just because of the bloodletting in it. And I usually end up someplace right in the middle. And that's kind of where I am with this film. I'm like smack dab in the middle. You know, my thing is like, you know, I mean, I feel like, you know, it's 2022. I feel like, you know, I feel like people should, I like horror movies that are also smart. You know what I mean? I like horror movies where people do the right things. You know what I mean? Where, you know, like the cliches of, you know, running into the house when there's a car outside and you can drive in the car and drive away, you know, that kind of stuff, you know, running into the tool shed, you know, where there's a bunch of tools where you're probably going to get murdered, you know, that kind of stuff like that. So this one kind of takes me back to like the old 80s ones where they don't do smart things. They do a lot of dumb things. And I just feel like people are smarter than that now. And so that was my major issues. The things that the people did in the film, like, you know, I'm scratching my head. I'm like, why would you do that? Why aren't you doing this? Why would you do this? You know? So, because like, I always felt like in almost every situation with encounters with him, there were ways that they could have like, you know, gotten out of a situation just by being smart. So I don't know. So I do have issues with when, you know, a film's made just for the simple point of just to have the bloodletting, just to have the kills, and the logic just completely goes right out the window. So I am going to be a little more critical of that kind of stuff sometimes. So that's my major gripe. But yeah, I mean, if you're looking for a short 80-minute action film or horror action film, I should say, you're going to get that. You know, but what you always find funny about you specifically is you're way more forgiving for these types of films. But yeah, you know, if it's an action film that's that same kind of principle where people do dumb stuff, you'll definitely critique it more harshly. So I
don't know, like can you name any examples? Because I do pick on, you know, I mean, horror is my genre, so I do pick on it, but I tend to not get hung up on logic in my too much, I don't think, because to me, like, movies are fantasy, and the plot for almost all movies, genre movies, be it action or horror, is propelled by poor decisions. That's what I mean. Thrillers wouldn't happen if people didn't do things that were risky or silly. And like slasher movies, yeah, it's like a heightened reality. There'd be no movie if they behaved smartly. You know what I mean? So it's more like, do I like the characters? And like, I got invested in the two sisters, especially. So to me, it's like more of an emotional thing. Like, it's, you know, if they didn't do dumb things, there wouldn't be a movie. So I kind of like go past that, you know, and I think I do that in most genres. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know.
I always just feel you're a little more forgiving if it's a horror film.
Well, sure. I had a ball with this movie, you know, so
yeah,
I liked the characters. It looked good. It was action packed, and it was just fun. And after years of really like dark, dreary, serious horror movies being like the main thing.
Well, yeah, you know, and
right.
And I'll be the first to say, I wasn't a big fan of The Witch. I wasn't a big fan of Hereditary. I wasn't even a big fan of Midsummer. So for me, none of those films actually did a lot for me. Yeah, they were artsy looking. Yeah, they were done great. I guess doing dumb things. They probably didn't really do dumb things in there. You know, they were, you know, because they were in situations that were uncontrollable in those cases. There wasn't much you could do. But I just wasn't a fan of those ones as much. I mean, I would probably rewatch this over those ones just personally.
Yeah.
Just because.
Well, it's an hour shorter for one thing.
Yeah, that makes a world of difference too. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, and I like slasher films. I grew up on them as well, just like you did, So I definitely don't have anything against slasher films, But when I'm a kid and I'm watching a slasher film and they do dumb things, I didn't notice it as much. You know what I mean? But I mean, as an adult, and I watch a slasher film, especially some of the older ones, if I go back and revisit them, it is something to be said about doing things, and that's kind of where the Scream series franchise came from, because it was calling out all of those dumb things and bad decisions that people are making. So it is true that you can still make a good horror film without the characters, or a good slasher film in that case without the characters doing things that are absolutely stupid. And I just didn't feel like, I don't know, when I rewatched like the newer Halloween films, I didn't feel like the characters necessarily did things that were completely just like, why would you even do that? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just didn't have those head scratching moments like I had with like this one per se. So, so I don't know. I guess that's just the difference for me. So,
yeah. I don't know. It just felt good to see like Leatherface again. Just like he gets so many like rock star moments in this movie. You know what I mean? Like it was set up that way. Like it's a Leatherface movie. If you like,
no, it definitely is. No, it definitely
if
is.
You like him as a villain and want to see him get lots of like, wow, that was crazy moments, then this is your thing. But to me, the bonus is that it's actually really well filmed. I think. I mean, I know it wasn't directed by him, but it was worked on in some capacity by Fede Alvarez, who did the Evil Dead reboot that I loved also, and the and Don't Breathe. So it's got like a lot of filmmaking style to it. You know what I mean? Like it's a quality looking movie, and the characters, I didn't mind spending time with. At least some of the characters, you know what I mean? Some of the characters are annoying because they're supposed to be annoying, but like the core 4 characters, I didn't mind them. I thought I found them engaging, and to where the point that I was like kind of on the edge of my seat, even when I knew they were going to get it, or I was pretty sure they were going to get it. And like the ending, like really like knocked me back. And I love that it kind of ended. As a big fan of the original, again, I'm glad I like that it ended kind of similar to the first movie, and that it's just like. It ends in like this moment of like pure like chaos. It's just like, oh my God, I can't believe that just happened. Loud noise, spinning camera, and then like black. You know what I mean? I love that, So I don't know. I loved it. I've already said that though. So.
Yeah, we can tell. Nothing wrong with that. Cool.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
Nope.
All right.
Nope.
Well, you already gave the grade on this one, I believe.
Oh, did I?
I thought you did. Maybe
I don't know.
I thought you said 4.5 out of 5.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. I thought you said that. Yeah, I think you said that a few minutes ago. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or that could have been when we were tick tick boom. Maybe I don't know.
I could have sworn you said it.
They're basically the same movie. This and Tick Tick Boom.
Yeah, they're identical for sure.
Yeah.
One's got a few more songs. That's all.
That's all. Yeah, that's all. Yeah.
And Texas Chainsaw Massacre is the one with more songs.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. Yeah.
Cool.
But yeah, I loved it. 4.5 out of 5. I have no shame about that. A- experience. On a rewatch, I might give it 5. Who cares? You only live once.
YOLO.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's a very polarizing film, and I don't know, like I said, anytime a film is polarizing, I don't know why, but for some reason I always find myself right smack in the middle. So for me, I gave it a 3 out of 5, because I did like the kills, I did like the goriness of it. I'm not opposed to a good slasher film, but there's a lot of dumb things that happen in there for sure. So I definitely know why the critics panned it so much, and why even horror fans in general are panning it so much. And I could see that. I could see those reasons.
I could do a whole show on this, but I think as a horror fan, I think there are a lot of horror fans who just are never pleased. If it was made after 1989, or if they haven't seen it 100 times, they're not going to like it. Like, and I know enough, like,
I say that, but you look at the Halloween remake that was the direct sequel. I mean, that got pretty favorable reviews for the most part. And I don't know.
But there are a lot of the hardcore horror fans who hate it with a passion. I can tell you. And it's the same people that hate this one because I don't know. It's I don't know. There's this weird thing, especially in horror for some reason, that like if it's new, it's automatically suspect for a lot of people. You know what I mean? Like if it's been around, even if it's panned in the day, if it's been around for 10, 15 years, then it's all of a sudden like got this kind of cult relevance. You know what I mean? Like just with Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like the fourth Texas, I'm not going to go off on a deep end here, but just the fourth Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the one with Matthew McConaughey and Renee Zellweger, it's a very bad movie.
Yeah.
But even that is now kind of, it's got like a fancy Blu-ray re-release. You know what I mean? It's kind of safe to like that one now. And I predict this will be the same way. I predict like people react with revulsion because it's new, but in 10, 15 years, they're going to remember like the several like amazing, like orchestrated moments in this movie. And I think this will like stand the test of time. I do. We'll see. Maybe we'll do a show in 10 years and see if I was right.
Yeah, see what happens.
Yeah, but once it's like kind of
10 years, there'll be
like
another remake of this.
yeah, it'll be safe to like this one. It'll be safe to like this one if you're a hardcore horror fan. But then the new one will be, you know, the subject of like, you know, immense hatred, I'm sure.
We'll see.
You know what I mean?
We'll see what happens in a decade. Yeah, for sure. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, let us know down in the comments. Did you like it? Did you not like it? As always, if you like the channel, we ask that you like, subscribe, make sure you hit that bell notification, and we'll be back again soon with another show for you guys. We thank you for watching and hope you have a great day. Bye.